Hello, this is James Rogers with iSource.com, and today we're going to take a look at the ZAGGkeys Folio Bluetooth keyboard case for the iPad mini. Now, ZAGG's certainly no stranger to this area of accessories. Ever since their original ZAGGmate for the original iPad, they've had a fast evolving line of products that include standalone Bluetooth keyboards, keyboard covers, and keyboard cases under the ZAGGmate, ZAGG Folio, and ZAGGkeys lines. This is their second product for the iPad mini. Originally, they had the ZAGGkeys Mini 7 and 9, which were released back around the holidays, and which I reviewed on the site. And I came away thinking at the time they were probably the best option for the new iPad mini, or what was new at that time, but that they had some significant trade-offs in both models. The 7 was very small and had a very cramped keyboard and relied on some function keys to get to commonly used punctuation marks. And the 9, because it was wider than the iPad mini, it lacked versatility and usefulness. It was also kind of hard to get the iPad in and out of the plastic backplate of that particular case. And they both had kickstands, which even though it was implemented well on both of those cases, never tend to be the most ideal option because they aren't the most stable and they take up more room in your lap and front to back. But I'm happy to say that in the ZAGGkeys Folio, ZAGG has addressed all of these shortcomings and come up with what I think right now is just about the perfect keyboard cover for the iPad mini. So let's take a closer look. First of all, you can see on the outside we have your typical openings for all buttons and ports, including the micro USB charging port for the case itself. All the openings line up perfectly. Over here you have your Bluetooth trigger and on-off button, which we'll go ahead and turn on. One of the really only two small issues I had with the device in my testing, as you can see here, just a little bit of give right there. The plastic is made to be lightweight and thin, and so the fit and finish on the keyboard section isn't just perfect, but definitely forgivable. It's not falling apart or anything of that nature. Just there's just a little bit of give there in the plastic. Not a concern with the upper section that holds the iPad though. You can see the exterior is covered with a soft faux leather finish. The keyboard case is available in both white and black, presumably to match the color of your iPad mini. As you can see, I have the white myself. One other small thing to note is that the white, while it looks great out of the box, it does show dirt because of the soft finish. It's very easily cleanable with a damp cloth. Obviously, you want to remove your iPad when you do this, but it just requires a little bit more upkeep, not a big negative. It's just the nature of this color and the kind of material that's used. But overall, I'm happy with the choice because it fits well in the hand. It's easy to grip. And another positive is that when you open the case, it keeps it from sliding all over the place, back and forth. It kind of grips the surface a little bit. Now, as you can see when we open the case, one of the other shortcomings of the ZAGGkeys Mini was that they lacked the on-off magnets that we've gotten used to since the iPad 2 and its smart covers. This case does have those, and so your iPad will wake and sleep anytime you open or close the lid, which is a really nice feature. Now, one thing that's new with the ZAGGkeys Folio is the hinge. In previous ZAGG Folio and ZAGGkeys line devices, they've simply set the iPad in a groove, which held it at one angle, but thanks to this hinge, you now have a lot of positioning options, and I'm happy to say that even in the lap, the case sits firmly no matter how far back you tilt it. So as you can see, I have a fairly steep angle here, but there's no problems when I type. The iPad stays still, doesn't tip over. This is a great feature because it just allows for a lot more flexibility, and it allows the case to be smaller because you don't have anything that has to sit behind the iPad and support it like the kickstand of the previous ZAGGkeys Mini. And speaking of thinness, we're talking 6.9 millimeters closed, and also very lightweight, so it really complements the iPad Mini's lightweight and svelte frame. As you can see, the iPad is held securely, but it's very easy to get in and out. Just pop that little clip at the top. And then the corners, and it comes right out. And then pops right back in. Very easy to do. Alright, so the hinge is really good. You'll hear a little bit of creaking sometimes, but it is very stable and secure, so no big issues there. Now, another one of the features of this device is the backlight. So hit the lights. Alright, so it's difficult to see in a lit room, but the backlight is on. As you can see here, we can toggle through several different color choices as well as backlight strength by holding the function key and then manipulating the arrow keys. So this gives you a lot of versatility, and this may seem like a toy, and it'll seem that way until you try to type on this keyboard in the dark. If you've ever had to do that with a keyboard case that doesn't have a backlight, I can tell you it's definitely a pain. You got to angle your iPad somehow where the backlight will shine down enough that you can see where you're typing, where with this case in the backlight, not a concern. And even better, it doesn't have a horribly negative effect on the battery life. You're still going to get a lot of use out of this case, even when you use the backlight. So it's good to see that ZAGG has brought features from their keyboard cases geared toward the larger iPads now to the iPad Mini as well. And the last aspect we'll cover the keyboard is the keyboard itself. Another of the issues I had with the ZAGGkeys Mini 7, which was a good fit for the iPad Mini overall, was that the keyboard forced users to use a function key combination to combine some of the punctuation marks. Where in this version they've gone away from that and instead slimmed down some of the keys. So you'll see like the number 1, your caps lock tab, and some of the punctuation keys over here on the right are much thinner. But by doing that, your keyboard layout is much more standard, and there's no key combinations required. And they've even left enough room for a full function row here at the top, which includes things like lock, home screen, Siri trigger, on-screen keyboard, copy, paste, play, pause, forward, reverse, and volume up, down, and mute commands. So we have a great product here. Any 7-inch keyboard comes with the caveat that it's a good keyboard for its size. A larger keyboard is always going to be a better choice if you have the option to use one, but like a camera, the best keyboard in this case is going to be the one that you have with you. And because this is such a good case, you're much more apt to carry this around as a daily driver kind of device, where a bigger case like the ZAGGkeys Mini 9 was not nearly as practical. So overall, I'm very pleased with the ZAGGkeys Folio for the iPad Mini. I think it's a really good device. I think currently it's the best of breed that you'll find, and for $99, if you're looking for a Bluetooth keyboard and want an all-in-one solution, this is probably the best choice that you'll find on the market.